Yes, welcome to Patreesha's Potpourri. And I'm very pleased to tell you that this episode I have three very special men, and I want to ask you, do you know what an opportunity is? So please listen very closely, and I want to introduce Mr. Frank Franklin, Mr. Bill Modeste,
thank you, Patreesha,
and Mr. Walter Dogan, and they are from Queens College. And a special part of Queens College that I hold very, very dear to me, and it's the Seek program of Queens College. And I asked you earlier, do you know what an opportunity is? And I was very lucky to have such an opportunity. I'm going to turn this over to the director of the Seek program, Mr. Frank Franklin.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I was going to give you a brief introduction about the Seek program. I'm the director of the Seek program at Queens College. There's a Seek program in all the senior colleges in the City University of New York. And the opportunity is for students to get an education who would not have had that opportunity otherwise. So we are part of an admissions program as well as an opportunity program. So I don't know if we're going to talk about history now or Mr. Modeste.
Okay, and here's Bill Modeste, and you might know him as a referee also from many basketball games, and he's the historian of the Seek program. He also has another title, but he's going to tell you that. Mr. Modeste, please tell.
Yes, I guess they call me a historian of the Queens College Seek program because I started working there 2 years after its inception in 1968. But I became acquainted with the Seek program prior to my starting to work there. I was working with an anti-poverty program in Harlem called HARU-AC. And interestingly enough, in '65, we were sending students to City College to a program called the pre-baccalaureate program, which was a forerunner to the present day Seek program. And this program provided educational opportunity for students who didn't meet the admission requirements at the City University. And they would also afford them with some financial aid. They would provide them with books. They would provide them with counseling and tutoring services. And it would be the beginning step towards their acquiring a bachelor's degree. So that pre-baccalaureate program was the forerunner to the Seek program. But like most programs or initiatives, usually there's a historical perspective. And the seeds of the Seek program were in the civil rights movement. The bus boycotts, the sit-ins, and the turbulence that was happening in the city during that particular time, the 60s, 63, 64, 65, created a desire for poor people, people in working class people, to gain access to the City University. We were not highly represented in the City University at the time. It became a situation where a number of politicians, black and Puerto Rican politicians, were very interested in getting their constituents, people from their community, into the City University, getting an opportunity to aspire for higher education. The legislature needed votes of Black and Puerto Rican members to pass a particular bill. Shirley Chisholm, Charlie Rango,
David
Dinkins, Basil Patterson, and Percy Sutton. Those were the main prime movers who decided that if they were going to give their votes, they wanted their communities to get something in return. Hence, a deal was struck to create an educational opportunity programs for members from the particular communities. And at that time, in its beginning, you had to come from what was called a federal designated poverty area. And there was South Jamaica, the Lower East Side, Harlem, Bedford-Stuyvesant. I don't know the one in Staten Island, but those were the federally designated poverty areas that members were recruited to come into what was then called the SEEK program. And the SEEK program, those initials stand for Search for Education, Elevation, and Knowledge. And it was a state legislated program in 1966. And that means it's like 48 years old. It started at Queens in 1966 with 175 students. By 1968, we had about 500 students. And the program, although it was aimed at, quote, students who were unprepared, started to produce students who accomplished some outstanding academic achievements. Nellie McKay, one of our first graduates, got a scholarship to Harvard University. Another one of the graduates, I know she went to Maryland. And the other one, I forget his name right now, not Arnold Kemp, Herb Phoenix graduated, our first graduates with scholarships and honors. And it was a number of other students who were thought of not being eligible to enter the city university were graduating with honors and tremendous achievements. So today, the program is alive and well. Individuals have questioned whether we're still in existence, but we are, and we're at each one, like Mr. Franklin mentioned, each one of the senior colleges has a SEEK program. The program was so successful that the state universities copied our model and they created the educational opportunity program called EOP. The private schools,
EOP.
EOP.
Yes, go ahead.
The private schools were also kind of envious of our accomplishment, and they created the HEOP programs, which have the same kind of, I guess you would call the same type of philosophy. Educational opportunities for individuals who don't meet the admission requirements of the given colleges and also are in need of financial assistance.
That is wonderful.
Right.
Okay, Dr. Dogan.
Okay. Right.
Okay, please tell me a little more about the SEEK program.
Great opportunity program. The program is established to help people who need help educationally as well as economically, but it's an economically based program. Mr. Modeste mentioned about the opportunity programs for EOP, which is SUNY, HEOP, which is private, SEEK, which is CUNY 4-year. But there's another program called College Discovery, which is CUNY 2-year schools. So the opportunity exists wherever you want to go in CUNY. It's not just the four-year schools, any of the schools in CUNY, and you have that opportunity. However, let me just give you some information that you may need to help you navigate this. The opportunity exists. However, you must, number one, file an application. That is a centralized application of which you have 6 school choices. On that application is a question that asks you, would you like to be considered for the Seeker College Discovery Program? You must answer that question. And you must complete the section that's associated with that question in order to be considered for admission into a SEEK program. That's the initial stage. There's other information that you're going to need later on, but that's the beginning stage. The other thing I would give you is this: do this as early as possible. SEEK, being an opportunity and a great opportunity program, means that everybody attempt to get into it early on, because they realize that the seats are very limited. If you remember just a few seconds ago, Mr. Modeste said they started with 178.
175, yeah.
175, and in 2 years they were up to 500. So needless to say that we have limited seats, many students after those seats, and we have to make a decision early on. So it's important that you get an application on file and you check off on your application that you would like to be considered for the program. And then from that, we'll give you steps to follow.
And you must take your SATs.
In order to attend any CUNY four-year school, you must take an SAT. You must take. You can enter a CUNY two-year school without the SAT. You need a high school diploma. You need to graduate from high school or its equivalent. But you must take the SATs in order to be considered, in order to go to any CUNY four-year school.
And you should also talk about I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
You should talk about the average and the economic eligibility.
Do that.
Yes.
For Queens County, the average for the SEEK program varies throughout the CUNY system.
Right.
Varies throughout the CUNY system. So therefore, the average for Queens may be different from the average of some of the other CUNY schools. But right now, the average for Queens is SEEK Queens is 75 minimum 75 grade point average, 14 academic units, which the high schools are meeting that now. We really haven't had a problem in the last 3 years on that. But the academic units, and you need so many units of English, so many units of math, which the high schools are now meeting that, so we haven't really had to look at that. And you need to meet the economic requirements. And the economic requirement is based on family size and household income. Family size and household income is important. Those are key elements to determine whether or not a student is eligible for the program. Once you're in the SEEK program, I guess we need to give a little bit about the benefits of the SEEK program. It's absolutely beneficial to you in so many ways, but one of the main things that I think is hands-on counseling, tutorial services, lab, and a family. And a family. SEEK, yeah. Let me bring it home. SEEK at Queens College is indeed a family. And we do what we have to do to ensure that our students are successful. That's what we do. No matter what that is, that's what we do. To make sure our students are successful. And our students are very, very, very successful.
There's other types of support that I have realized that is in the SEEK program. It is financial support. Is that still true?
Yes, still get financial support.
Assistance with books.
Yes, still get assistance with books.
Tutoring.
Tutoring, yes.
Counseling.
Counseling, yes.
And those things are so important. I am a product of the SEEK program myself, and I cannot tell you how the impact it had on my life. And Bill Modeste did the phrase, a sociological phenomenon for all of us that were, blooming after we had such an opportunity. And it was an opportunity because, like Walter said, you were a part of a family, a system. You worked, you studied, there were people to support you to no matter what. And I know my mother got very sick at that time, and it was so traumatic. And there were people there for me. And I was telling them, I said, I don't want to start crying here on stage, telling the type of support that I received. In time for this opportunity in which I received, I created a program called Purdy Street Prep. And with Dory Collazo Baker, Dr. Dory Collazo Baker, and it was, we worked together and we tried to get students the same support that I've received, SEEK. Frank, would you please give us a little more about the SEEK program?
You want to know about the Queens College SEEK program?
Yes, please.
Okay. As you mentioned earlier, we provide supported service for our students. The tutoring, we provide tutoring in any subject that they need help in. The counseling, Mr. Modeste might want to talk a little briefly about what counselors do, but we provide counseling services which help the students with whatever problems they may have, scheduling classes. It's a very important service. We also have at Queens what we call supplemental instructions, where we place a supplemental instructor in the classroom with the teacher, and they meet with students individually or collectively to help explain concepts that the students don't understand. So that's a very important service that we provide. And we also do money for books and also help with the stipends.
Excellent.
Right.
Let me just add in about
Sure.
the supplemental instructors. And I wanted to mention that because I think that's indeed a key element in our success, because a supplemental instructor is there after class hours with office hours. And the importance of that is that many of our students are first generation college, number one, and they come out of high school extremely shy. And they won't ask that pertinent question in class. That supplemental instructor provide that opportunity for you to go to their office one-on-one and get that question out and get it answered. So I think that we can see our students as they bloom from year after year, over the years, and as they progress through their educational endeavors. And it's just beautiful to watch that, but the supplemental instructor is the key. The other key is, Mr. Modeste will talk about, is counseling. Counseling is the other key.
Take us to
Yes,
counseling,
yes.
Mr. Modeste. Tell us your title. What did you do there what do you do, and what did you do, and are you doing as a counselor for the SEEK program?
Well, almost everything. The counselor's role is basically to assist the student in their quest to be successful, not only educationally and academically, but prepare them to be successful in life. We want them to be change makers. And the SEEK program is an example. They're in a culture and an environment that tend to defy the odds. You talked about me telling you once before about a sociological miracle, a phenomena, okay. We, at our recent graduation, we just had an educational tsunami. We had three individuals to graduate with 3.9 GPAs. That's the highest honors in the university. Summa cum laude. 3 individuals to graduate with 3.9 GPAs. We had 5 to graduate with 3.7 GPAs. And we had, I think it was 42% of our students who had B averages or better.
And this is the SEEK program students.
And these are students who the college said did not meet the requirements for admission in the school. So I just have a hard time getting my mind around this turnaround. How did this happen? It seems as if people should be knocking out our doors to find out, what have you been doing for these students to recycle this human capital in such a productive way?
May I answer that question? Given the support, when you know that people believe in you,
yes, yes.
okay,
yes.
No matter what happened, there are people by your side. most of the obstacles, which might have been financial, were knocked down with a stipend, with help with books. Just going through the process of being in college and knowing that you were there with people that look for success rather than were waiting for your failure, it makes a big difference.
Very good. Yes.
You're so right, and,
Yes.
I agree with you wholeheartedly that, students perform to the level of instructors and individuals' expectation. And when you're in a culture that expects you to be successful, it's viral and it's very infectious and contagious. Now, interestingly enough, the three gentlemen on your panel, we are all products of HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. And I'll speak for myself, Shore University. When I went down to school, that climate, that environment was one in which was there to help me become successful. And I think that that kind of ingredient is very similar to what happens at the Queens College's SEEK program. Students feel that they are there to be assisted in becoming successful. And the counseling becomes the linchpin that connects the student with the university. It's like the mortar that keeps them together, because you're with the counselor from the day you come in until you graduate, or sometimes till after you graduate. We say from the cradle to the grave. But I think those are some of the things. But I would think that people would be identifying or wanting to identify our formula.
A formula of success.
Yeah.
And be ready to replicate it or have us share it with other educational institutions.
The formula that for success in which I experienced, I tried to replicate it in a middle school, and it was successful for several years, and then I saw the turn, the success, and we took kids on the lowest academic quartile for Purdy Street Prep, and we saw people think that we had the elitists. And then we were voted out. So I understand sometimes success, when you are successful, it's not recognized. What can we do to make the success of SEEK? And I have one thing to say. HEOP, Arthur Eve.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Arthur Eve, we will be
Right,
if
remiss.
we didn't exactly if we didn't mention how hard he worked for that program. What can we do in SEEK?
Okay,
What can we do?
I want to say Queens is doing some very good things, but I want to say all the SEEK programs in the City University are doing some of the same good things. Oh, okay, and because the success, we've had the success with our students, and they also have success. But I mean, in terms of what can we do, was your question? I think the SEEK program is already a model for the country,
right?
In terms of how you can set up and be successful.
Developmental education,
developmental education. But I think we just need to spread or advertise our success as a program throughout the City University of New York. And I don't know.
One of the other things you talked about in terms of the SEEK program at Queens College, and we didn't say this, but I think it's important to also, we talked about it being a family, we talked about the support, we talked about all that, but there's some other things. There has to be someone at the top that believe in the program. We are fortunate at our SEEK program at Queens College to have Mr. Frank Franklin, who believes in the program. If he didn't believe in the program, we could not be as successful as we are. The other SEEK programs throughout City University, they have to have somebody in place who believes in the program. And that person has to take that belief beyond the SEEK program to those who are going to finance and fund it, and have them to believe in the program. We show our success in the program, and we show our success through the college and everywhere else so that they believe in it and they want to fund it. But if he didn't do that, our program would not be as successful, and the other SEEK directors, same situation. It would not be there.
We get a lot of support from Queens College, the administration and faculty, so that makes our job a lot easier, you know.
Okay, it's countdown time for us.
Okay.
Can I make a comment before you?
Sure,
Because
surely.
I heard a comment made about CUNY which is one of the largest public institutions in the nation. It said something to the effect that a dropout, you can start in CUNY with a GED and continue to get your PhD, you know, through the whole gamut. Very few educational university systems one could do that. But in CUNY, you can start with a GED and actually earn a PhD.
Okay.
Well, that is such a nice way to wrap up this conversation. Okay, I want to thank you, Dr. Walter Dogan.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to thank you, Mr. Bill Modeste, and I would like to thank you, Frank Franklin.
You're welcome.
And I urge, you know, there has been so many years that I have been trying to work with people, the people at SEEK, to try to recruit students. I don't understand why more students do not come to the SEEK program. You know, it's too far to travel, all kinds of, Queens College is the best place. Also, I'm telling you, okay, another thing is I'm looking for Purdy Street Prep students that were a part of Purdy Street Prep. So if you were part of the Purdy Street Prep, which was modeled after the SEEK program, and just the other day I was going on my walk with my walker down Tilden Street, and I met Eddie Oquendo, and he told me what a positive experience it was, and that's why one of the reasons he's successful, and Tabuki, who's and other people, that program was modeled after the SEEK program. So I would like for you to please write me here at BronxNet, but if you contact information, if they would like to get in contact with you, please get your pen and pencils out, or your little tablets. You could tell I'm old school. I said pens and pencils. Okay, Queens College SEEK program. You'll have a family. You'll get the support you need. It'll be a wonderful, wonderful experience. Okay, think about it. Think about where you're going. Think about, do you know what an opportunity is? And here is an opportunity. Okay, please. And may I have you again as guest on this program?
Oh, by all means.
Yeah.
Okay,
By all
thank you.
means. And thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for having us.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.